You're home alone, curled up on the couch, savoring the rare solitude of a quiet night. The wind howls outside, rattling the windows, but it's the sudden, low hum from within the house that makes your skin crawl. You try to dismiss it as the old pipes settling, but the sound doesn't stop. Instead, it grows louder, more distinct, like rhythmic breathing, coming from within the walls themselves. Curiosity mixed with dread urges you to investigate. You rise from the couch, your heart pounding, and press your ear against the wall. There it is, deep, labored breaths, unmistakably human. Panic sets in as you try to rationalize what you're hearing. Maybe it's just your imagination, a trick of the mind in this old, creaky house, but then the breathing changes, quicker, more urgent, as if the presence behind the wall is struggling for air. The realization hits you like a punch to the gut. Something, or someone, is trapped within the walls. You follow the sound down the hallway, each step echoing in the eerie silence. The breaths grow louder, leading you toward your bedroom. Your hands tremble as you reach for the door, pushing it open slowly. The room is dark, save for the faint moonlight filtering through the curtains, casting long, sinister shadows. The sound is coming from behind the wall, right where your bed is. You lean in closer, your breath hitching as you place your hand on the cold plaster. The wall pulses beneath your palm, the breathing now frantic, almost desperate. A cold sweat breaks out on your forehead as you stagger back, your mind racing for an explanation. Suddenly, the breathing stops, replaced by a faint, almost inaudible whisper, "I'm trapped, let me out." You bolt for the door, but it slams shut with a force that reverberates through the room. The whispers grow louder, more insistent, filling your head with their frantic pleas. You try the doorknob, but it won't budge, as if something on the other side is holding it shut. The air in the room thickens, making it hard to breathe. Panic takes over as you pound on the door, desperate to escape. But then you feel it, a cold breath on the back of your neck. You freeze, too terrified to turn around, knowing that whatever is behind you isn't human. A chill runs down your spine as the whispers continue, now directly in your ear. "Help me, please." The voice is weak, filled with sorrow and despair. You muster the courage to turn around, but the room is empty, save for the shadows that seem to shift and writhe on their own. You race to the window, trying to open it, but it's stuck, the frame warped and swollen. Desperation claws at you as you realize there's no way out. The whispers crescendo, filling the room with their eerie chorus, and you feel the walls closing in, the darkness growing thicker, and then, just as suddenly as it began, the noise stops. The air clears, and the room is deathly silent. You collapse onto the floor, trembling, your mind struggling to comprehend what just happened. But as you sit there, trying to calm your racing heart, you hear it again, a faint, labored breath, coming from within the wall. And this time, it's right beside you. You're alone in your new home, a quaint, old house you bought for a steal. It's the perfect place to start fresh, or so you thought. The first few days are peaceful, filled with the excitement of unpacking and decorating. But then, on the third night, you hear it, a soft creaking from above, like something rocking back and forth. At first, you shrug it off, but the sound continues, night after night. Each time it starts, it seems closer, more insistent. Curiosity gnaws at you, and one evening, you decide to investigate. Armed with a flashlight, you ascend the narrow staircase to the attic, each step creaking ominously under your weight. The attic is dusty and dim, filled with old furniture covered in white sheets. The smell of mothballs and aged wood fills your nostrils as you sweep the flashlight beam across the room. The sound grows louder as you approach the far corner, where a cradle sits, rocking slowly despite the stillness in the air. Your heart skips a beat as you draw nearer. The cradle is old, its wood chipped and worn, yet it moves with a life of its own. You peer into it, expecting to find it empty, but instead, you see a small, worn doll lying inside. Its glassy eyes stare straight at you, unblinking. You reach out to touch the cradle, your fingers trembling. The moment your hand makes contact, the rocking stops abruptly. The silence in the attic is deafening, broken only by the sound of your own rapid breathing. You take a step back, unnerved, but the cradle suddenly jerks violently, the doll tumbling out and landing at your feet. You gasp, stumbling back into an old dresser, knocking over a stack of dusty boxes. The air grows cold, a chill that seeps into your bones. The attic door slams shut with a force that rattles the walls, and you spin around, but the door won't open. You're trapped, the temperature drops further, your breath visible in the freezing air. You hear it, a faint lullaby, sung in a voice that's both sweet and terrifying. It echoes through the attic, the haunting melody growing louder with each passing second. You back away from the door, your eyes darting around the room for an escape. The lullaby fills your ears, drowning out all rational thought. The cradle begins to rock again, faster and faster, the sound of wood scraping against the floorboard sending shivers down your spine, and then you see it, the doll's eyes moving, following your every move. It's as if the doll is alive, its gaze filled with malevolence. The walls seem to close in on you, the shadows lengthening, twisting into shapes that shouldn't exist. You scream for help, pounding on the door, but no one comes. The lullaby crescendos, a cacophony of sound that makes your head throb. You clutch your ears, desperate to block it out, but it's no use. Just as you think you can't take it anymore, the door flies open, and the lullaby stops. You don't waste a second, bolting down the stairs, nearly tripping in your haste. You reach the safety of your bedroom, slamming the door shut behind you, but the silence is almost worse. You sit on the edge of your bed, your body trembling, trying to convince yourself it was just a nightmare. But deep down, you know it wasn't. You know something is wrong with this house, and as you lie in bed, too terrified to sleep, you hear it again, the soft creaking of the cradle, coming from above. And this time, you swear you hear a child's voice, whispering your name. It's a stormy evening, and you're home alone, trying to relax with a movie. The rain pelts the windows, and the wind howls outside, but you feel safe, cocooned in the warmth of your living room. You've always enjoyed the solitude of a quiet night, but tonight feels different. There's an unease in the air that you can't quite shake. Just as you're getting lost in the film, the phone rings, startling you. The shrill sound cuts through the quiet, and you fumble to answer it. The number is unfamiliar, but something compels you to pick up. "Hello," you say, but there's no response, just static on the line. You're about to hang up when you hear it, a voice, distant and garbled, like it's coming from far away. "I'm here," the voice whispers, barely audible over the crackling static. In the house. You freeze, your heart pounding. "Who is this?" you demand, but the line goes dead, leaving you in a silence more unsettling than the storm outside. A chill runs down your spine as you check the doors and windows, making sure they're all locked. You try to dismiss the call as a prank, but the unease lingers, gnawing at the edges of your mind. You return to the couch, but the movie is no longer a comfort. Every creak of the house makes you jump, every shadow seems darker, more menacing. You try to calm yourself, but then the phone rings again. The same number. The same static. But this time, the voice is clearer, closer. "I'm in the house," it repeats, a sinister smile almost audible in the tone. "Watching you." Your blood runs cold. You drop the phone, your eyes darting around the room, scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. The thought that someone might actually be inside the house with you makes your stomach churn with fear. You grab a knife from the kitchen, your hands shaking as you clutch it tightly. Every nerve in your body is on high alert as you begin to search the house, room by room. You open closets, peek behind curtains, check under the bed, but find nothing. Just as you're starting to convince yourself that it's all in your head, the phone rings a third time. The sound cuts through the air like a knife, and you answer it, your voice trembling. "What do you want?" you demand, your voice quivering with fear. The line is silent for a moment, filled with nothing but the ominous crackling of static. Then, the voice speaks again, closer and more menacing. "I'm right behind you," it says, dripping with malevolence. Your blood turns to ice as you spin around, expecting to see a figure looming over you. But there's no one there, only the empty, darkened room, with shadows dancing on the walls. Your breath comes in shallow gasps as you frantically scan the space, the knife trembling in your hand. You back up slowly, eyes wide with terror, trying to convince yourself it's just a prank, someone messing with you. But the dread in your gut tells you otherwise. You feel the presence, an oppressive weight in the air, as if something is watching you from the darkness. Suddenly, the lights flicker, plunging the house into darkness. The only illumination comes from the occasional flash of lightning, casting eerie shadows that make your heart race. You fumble for your phone, trying to use its light to navigate the room, but the battery is dead, completely drained. Panic seizes you as you stumble through the house, the walls closing in around you. You hear footsteps, soft and deliberate, echoing down the hallway. They're getting closer, accompanied by the sound of something dragging along the floor. You move as quietly as you can, your heart thundering in your chest, every instinct screaming at you to run. But your feet feel like they're made of lead, barely able to carry you forward. The footsteps stop, and the house is silent again, but you know it's not over. The phone rings one last time, cutting through the darkness. You don't want to answer, but you can't help yourself. With trembling hands, you bring the phone to your ear. "What do you want from me?" you whisper, your voice cracking. The voice on the other end laughs, a low, guttural sound that makes your skin crawl. "I'm here," it says, and this time, it's unmistakably clear. "In the house. Right behind you." You feel the breath on the back of your neck, cold and clammy, as the power goes out completely. The last thing you hear before everything goes black is the sound of footsteps, impossibly close, followed by a door creaking open somewhere in the house, and then, silence.